Thanks for that breakdown, Jacqueline. Now we look at this. Claire's home, Alberta. And, of course, flood situation alive and well there. Overland flooding has been reported in Claire's home, which has been under a state of emergency this week. And residents were asked to avoid 43rd Avenue West from 3rd Street to 8th Street West. And that's just one example of many roads in the area that I'm sure have been closed off because of all the wet weather we've been seeing. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Karkic. 12 communities today in Alberta have been under a state of emergency. But the good news is on the weather front, we are starting to see a lot of this rain thin out, taper off. South of Calgary, yes, a heavy band of rain, but this is dying down through the overnight. And at this point, all rainfall warnings have been dropped. This is the additional rainfall through Friday. Note under 5 millimeters of rain. The bulk of this system really shifting into Saskatchewan, where you can see around Regina 15 to 30 millimeters or more. Also, the severe weather threat risk is in southern Saskatchewan for this evening. Generally non-severe, but isolated severe thunderstorms could pop up tonight just north of Swift Current in this Yorkton region, anywhere this area is indicated in red. Now, in Alberta, we've certainly seen a risk of thunderstorms. That, too, is dying down, and we are heading into a very different trend. For the last couple of days, it's been a trend in the south of continuing rain showers. We've had the upsloping flow that has helped matters too, but it is going to change. Flooding, but they're asking people to have sump pumps and their eaves working very well because we're still expecting to see a little bit of moisture through the overnight. But overall, High River and Calgary this time, no overland flooding. But look at all these areas that saw so much rain with this event. West Castle, 223 millimeters, Waterton Lakes, 195, and Pincher Creek, 100 millimeters of rain. Milk River, pretty high too, 138. Still a little bit more to go overnight. We've got an additional under 5 millimeters of rain, but the majority of that very steady, heavy rainfall has shifted into Saskatchewan, and you can see Regina, 15 to 30 millimeters for you there. So there it is. It is going to continue to bring some wet weather into southern Manitoba for tomorrow as well, which could actually see some thunderstorms too. And I do want to mention that in Alberta for Friday afternoon, Calgary and Red Deer has a risk of seeing some pop-up thunderstorms. Also Saturday, a little bit of rain as well, but it clears out by Sunday. Torrential rains and now active weather is in place for Brandon, for Dauphin as well, for about 50 to 70 millimeters of rain. This is through to tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Karkic. Also on top of this rainfall, we could see some thunderstorms, so take note of this. Locally higher amounts in thunderstorms, which could actually be isolated and severe in nature for tomorrow afternoon. So anywhere in dark green, seeing the most. But yes, with thunderstorms, it's always hard to say exactly where we're going to see the most rain. We could see some large size hail with this, not only in Manitoba, but parts of Saskatchewan for this afternoon as it shifts into Manitoba. But for tomorrow afternoon, I do want to mention that in Winnipeg, Brandon as well, Interlake region, we are going to see this front shifting through, so it could be pretty active afternoon for Friday there with a bit of heat and humidity in the environment too. This will eventually push out, and for Saturday afternoon we'll see much improved conditions. Also, I want to mention in Alberta for Friday afternoon a risk of thunderstorms. Coming up, we are going to count down the top 5 stunning numbers for And an update weather-wise is all the rainfall warnings have been dropped across the province, so we are going to see all this rain start to taper off through the overnight. Still a little bit more to go, under 5 millimeters, but you're going to wake up to sunshine tomorrow in Medicine Hat as well as Lethbridge. It's just that in the afternoon there could be a risk of seeing some pop-up thunderstorms. Take a look at Saskatchewan. We've got a lot of rain moving in through the overnight for you. Regina, 15 to 30 millimeters, and in southern Manitoba, I want to mention we do have a rainfall warning in place. Medicine Hat, a nice stretch of dry weather after we get through the risk of showers on Saturday. Let's take you to this. Perfect time of year to hit up the farmers market. This is in St. Jacobs. Some nice apples, strawberries, blueberries, always good when they're local and fresh. For Ontario in the northwest, we're going to see a risk of thunderstorms for Friday, and that's going to spill over into southern Manitoba too. Some could be severe in nature. And as we look at temperatures here for Toronto, 23 on Friday. London will be 23, pretty comfortable, and heading into the weekend, cottage country down towards Toronto, really nice conditions. Coming up, we'll look at the Maritime provinces, and Chris St. Clair will explain why we see severe weather with the lower jet stream. we still have this system to deal with, which has rainfall warnings in place through Newfoundland, around Buckins, around Deer Lake and Corner Brook too. So it is going to continue to be wet. We've got some northerly winds as well, 15 to 30 millimeters through to Friday afternoon. And then look at this wraparound effect that's occurring northern sections of New Brunswick, PEI, and even parts of Nova Scotia. It's not going to be a big rainmaker for the maritime provinces, and it will eventually clear out and through Newfoundland, but it's going to take a little bit of time through the weekend to do that. Friday, Moncton, 15 degrees. By Saturday, 18, with some wet weather coming. It's about 5 to 10 millimeters of rain from Friday through to Saturday, but then a nice clearing trend and a bit of humidity on Tuesday. Look at that, feeling close to 27 in the afternoon. Now, this is the rainfall through Saturday. St. John's, 5 to 15 millimeters. Darker green seeing the most, and that, of course, is the zone of the rainfall warning. And then in the maritime provinces, areas like Halifax, under 5 millimeters of rain. And then the daytime high for Friday, Halifax will get up to 16. Moncton will be 15, and Sydney getting up to 15 degrees. How does the weekend look in Halifax? Well, not too bad. Saturday, 17 with showers. Sunday will be 20. If you want to look at your weekend forecast. All right, thanks for that update on your long ranger with Suzanne Leonard and Dr. Doug Gillum. We're going to go into more detail again in the short range on what's going on in the east, and we'll take a look at their current systems. This one in Atlantic Canada will be bringing Newfoundland rain. There are rainfall warnings in place, and for northwestern Ontario, that is the key area that will see active weather into the weekend. So first up, we've got areas like Gander in a rainfall warning, 15 to 30 through Saturday, and still a little bit through the maritime provinces, but it's not going to be as persistent as Newfoundland. For Friday, risk of thunderstorms, southern Manitoba, northwestern Ontario, and here's how it plays out in the north. Areas like Thunder Bay, at least 10 millimeters of rain through your Friday, but really nice in southern Ontario. Coming up, snow and rain are key to be overlooked. All right, for Friday afternoon in London, if you're traveling there, getting up to a comfortable 23 degrees. Not seeing any rain, dry conditions for Friday.
Wow. Today on the morning show, if you missed it, is there a more terrifying sight on the road ahead than this? Wow. Storm chasers in South Dakota found themselves in the deadly path of a tornado on Wednesday. Now, they were tracking the twister that ripped through the town of Wessington Springs that evening. It destroyed several buildings and at least a dozen homes. Kevin Yard was on cleanup duty. He was in Markham again this morning, talking to folks that lost power during Tuesday's wicked thunderstorms that moved through. Now make sure you catch us again tomorrow morning. Kevin Yard and I will be talking about the beautiful weekend ahead, and Tom will get you where you need to go with his traffic report.